Teenagers of Reddit, what are the hardest things to explain to adults that you can tell a child and will understand? I don't lock the door because I'm doing drugs. It's because I'm naked and you have no boundaries. Leave your door open once and start masturbating. She will never ever come into your room again. Just because I have my own personal life and secrets doesn't automatically mean I'm doing something bad, illegal or straight up dangerous. I'm allowed to have secrets. You have no privacy in this house. Double quote. When we say don't tell anyone, we mean don't tell anyone. I told my mom about a girl I absolutely hated. Then later that night, she FaceTimes me and says, guess what, I work with her aunt, and flips the camera to her and starts talking about how she told her that I hated her niece. I know that feeling completely. I once told my mom that I had a crush somebody, huge mistake. But she wouldn't stop bugging me about it until I told her about this person. Cut to a few weeks later and I invite my crush and some other friends over to my house. And the entire time my mom is eyeing my crush and being everything but subtle about it. Once my friends left, she started pointing out all the things she thought was wrong or bad about my crush. You can't just walk up to someone and ask if you can hang out with them without it being weird. This reminds me of my high school cafeteria that was also a student lounge throughout the day. I so hated walking in there and figuring out where I could go sit without being awkward. Or if I just had to sit by myself like a weirdo, pre-cell phone, so I couldn't just look at my phone. Or I'd go sit near someone I sort of knew and say what's up. 15 awkward seconds later they get up and go somewhere else. That tea sucked. I barely ever said a word to anyone in high school except my few close friends. I really envied people who could just confidently word vomit all day from group to group. Having friends online that you actually care about. Edit. Yeah, there are exceptions, I know. I've explained it to my dad like this: when you talk to the same people about 2 or 3 times a week, those are your friends. I play an MMO game with a group and I've known some of them longer than IRL friends. And while I'm definitely closer with real life friends than that online group, I absolutely consider them friends. Usually I just describe them as friends to people who don't understand that instead of calling them somebody I've never actually met, and mostly call by an online handle despite knowing their name. That you are tired of everything and want to have less pressure from them. Also that raising your voice a little bit when you are upset isn't disrespect. I wish my wife understood this. If I get excited defending a point of view, I often end up raising my voice a little. Not shouting. Not angry. Just excited, passionate about the topic. I don't notice myself doing it, and her telling me to lower my voice derails my whole point I'm trying to put across. Walking on eggshells sucks. Almost not a teenager anymore. But I found hanging out online on Discord, or a couple years ago, on Skype, is just so surreal to adults. Especially people age 50 and older. Hanging out on Discord kinda gets me, but I still only use it as a big ass game group chat for 2 different games I play and that's it. But I don't sit on it and just hang out. I have no reason to knock people that do. I just don't get it, lol. Just because someone is going through something worse doesn't mean your thing isn't bad either. We were watching Jojo Rabbit, a movie set in World War II. And she said it makes sense for those people to have depression. But why do you? Or whenever I complained about my dad's gambling problem. Or if he yells at me. Or my mom. She always says at least he doesn't beat you. I hate this one so much. I have a dad that hits me, but he also does nice stuff and doesn't totally neglect me, so whenever I talk about him hitting and screaming at me over small things I always get, well, at least he buys you stuff and feeds you. Some kids don't get that. Like, that wasn't the point? That sometimes I just don't want to be with other people. A kid would just say okay and it would make sense to them. But adults can't seem to understand that I want to be by myself sometimes. Isolated. I've always phrased it as I don't feel like being a person right now. And that's usually gotten the point across of I need time by myself to exist and not think about how I relate to other people. Double quote. That I'm doing the best I can and that I'm still learning how to be an adult and sometimes I still need help. I get that I'm an adult now, but it helps if adults show me how to do that. The brain doesn't fully mature until you're around 25. I don't think we take this into consideration enough and often expect too much from young people. Respect is earned, not given. Keep it a secret. Double quote. I know what you are trying to say with the respect thing, but this is honestly one of the things that used to grind my gears with the youth at the after school program I volunteer at. I understand that teenagers deserve respect, but you have to realize that respect does have to be given, not earned. So many of the kids demanded respect but wouldn't give back and are missing the irony of that double standard. Why would an adult respect you if you aren't willing to give it first? This simply isn't how the world works. You cannot say this to your future bosses, partners or friends and think it will go over well. On the other hand, teenagers do deserve to be treated equally and deserve much more grace when they make mistakes. Far more than an adult deserves. But when someone is in a position of power over you, whether that is a teacher, a parent, or anyone else, they do not have to earn your respect. It is the default, just as respect to you should also be the default. And yeah, I'm gonna get downvoted and that's okay. But this is a conversation I have to have every year with the youth. Now my case is a little strange cause I look about the same age as the teens even as I near 30, so I give them a lot of leeway with respecting me cause for the first week they think I'm a high schooler. We aren't trying to act moody when we fight back. We want to learn to stand up for ourselves when you guys don't listen. Even when we have valid arguments. Some of you guys think that you are always correct since you are the adult. By arguing we are asking for some respect from you. Not trying to take any respect away from you. Asterisk. 26-year-old. I always hated I'm the adult. You're the child, or well, I've been on this earth a little bit longer than you have. So, I have experiences too. I have knowledge too. I hated being told how smart I was, then repeatedly being shut down because I'm the child. I still get this even when I have 2 bachelor's degrees. A minor. And I'm 1 class away from getting my master's. It's f***ing infuriating. I'm an adult. But the one that has always got me is school. Every adult I know will listen to a kid complain about school and then tell them how good they have it. F that. You couldn't pay me to go back to high school. Let alone middle school. I get paid to wake up every morning and go work now. Plus I get paid if I'm sick or just want to take a vacation day and not go in. High school is stressful as FCK. Especially on a period system where you have to cram 7 different lessons in your brain every day. Sometimes study for 7 different tests. And then add an ACT-SAT prep on top of that. Then you have to also be social. Tie in some extracurriculars or community service to beef up the college application. And still try to squeeze in some time for friends, significant other or hobbies. I wouldn't go back to high school for all the money in the world. Video games are fun. Also, video games are insanely diverse. There are so many different genres and types of games that it's weird we even generalize them so much. When I talk too much I'm disrespectful. When I don't talk at all I'm standoffish. I have no other resort than to withdraw in my room. And you being standoffish is a clear indicator to them that you're harboring rebellious thoughts. And that you're having a bad attitude. And then when they confront you about your awful attitude and you become exasperated and feel cornered. Trying desperately to explain that you're not trying to have an attitude. Now you're arguing with them and that's also part of your bad attitude and you're just a rebellious piece of shit that embarrassed them with each passing day as they have to be ashamed of how awful of a person you are based on your attitude. And then when your grades in school drop because you're not only a f***ing teenager who's got to sort shit out in your own head. But you're also dealing with their bullshit. Your dropping grades are somehow an attack on them and you're trying to embarrass them to your teachers. I'm not a teen but I still think explaining mental illness to adults is a big problem for many people. TW. I'm a young teen and somehow parents think that people my age are too young to have depression, anxiety, or anything else. And no. Susan. I'm not talking about the I'm so depressed and quirky lol he type of depressed. I'm talking about the several diagnoses from several therapists because of what you did to me, but you still act like I'm just a rebellious teenager kind of depressed. I, and the millions of teens dealing with this, have thought about self-harm. I've done it twice. And not to mention the millions of teens WH over KLLED themselves over this. And somehow parents all over the world ignore their kids' obvious cries for help. This is insane. Edit. Thanks for all the support. You guys. I've never had this many people see my posts, and it makes me happy that people agree. Stay happy. All. Close bracket. Bisexuality. Younger cousins couldn't care less, whereas parents took 3-5 business days to process that it's possible to be attracted to more than one gender. Edit. Extends to all LGBT+. This one pisses me off because it's not in any way complicated. You like men or women? Double quote. Both? Double quote. I don't get it. Double quote. And then you get gay people doing this shit and it's dumber. It's not as common, but it leaves me infinitely more exasperated. Yes, video games are important because they're a source of amusement and happiness, as well as developing your hand-eye coordination and critical thinking skills. Just an argument for the parents, which would probably get you yelled at for using. Sorry for the ammunition. Exams are hard, as well as putting pressure on ourselves. We have teachers telling us we should be getting grades that are better than we could ever get. Our parents making revise each subject for an hour a day isn't going to stop the stress. Some of my teachers knew this. In my last year in school, my English teacher would give us Fridays off to just chill and take the piss. He even played blackjack with some of us before. My engineering teacher would play old rock during classes. Let us eat and go to the shop to get food. Those two were sound. Our vice principal was also chill enough to play basketball with us, and the priest. The priest used to play at a national level and was a legend. That when I have a valid argument, it isn't disrespecting you. It's trying to make you understand there is another valid point of view. Agreed. I can't even talk to my dad about anything remotely political because he will scream. And after be all salty and keep trying to start fights which I don't entertain. It's ridiculous how close-minded some older people are. How to use a phone tablet. Not sure how a 4-year-old can become an iPhone whiz in under 30 minutes, but showing a family member how to send a photo will take hours because you have to keep showing them because they don't bother to remember. Haha. Trying to get people to understand and remember things about phones is like trying to get a kid to understand and remember math. The first part is sometimes easy. The other part more often than not is much more difficult. You thinking you're joking? Is you actually being an asshole? And you making fun of my body? Makes me care about it less, so it'll never get better. Been there, done that. Throughout my whole life I struggled with anxiety and depression. A lot of it coming from my parents' hatred towards my body. As they were both athletes. Just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. College is the time to help yourself. And without the negativity of loathing parents, you are able to be yourself and live the life you want. For me, it meant realizing how much I should change. And not feeling bad about it. I just want to be equal to you. Yes. You deserve respect, but so do I. I just want to be able to have a conversation and be heard. When you tell me to do something, I just want you to hear me out when I have a problem with it. You would never treat a friend this way, so why do you get to treat me like this? I remember being a kid. I remember resenting my parents not listening. I remember how often they were right and I was a dumbass. My teen daughter is not a dumbass. And deserves to be heard. But that doesn't mean she's right. That's strippers. Black people. Mexicans. Anyone who isn't white. LGBTQ+. Non-religious people. People who have a different religion. Ex-criminals who have converted to being good law-abiding citizens. The homeless. The disabled, including mental. And people who have different political opinions than you are all still people, and you should automatically treat them like people. That means with respect, care, humbleness, and imagining what it's like to be in their shoes. I recently turned 21, so I guess I'm technically not a teenager anymore. But while my parents didn't do this too badly, I hate being told to man up because I'm a guy who sometimes wants to cry, have emotions, and I'm not into sports or stuff like that. Like, come on. Guys can act all like stereotypically feminine things and the other way around with girls. That just because I play video games or watch anime doesn't mean I'm still a little f-king child or that I'm not growing up. I wish parents, mine at least, actually tried playing video games or watching a good ass anime that really makes you feel something. I have played video games and watched anime that are miles better than any movie I've seen or any book I've read. Some games have such amazing storytelling, it's pretty much an interactive book. I mean, I get it. You grew up at a time when video games were pretty much non-existent. And you hear the word game and just instantly think, oh, it's for children, but come on. At least give it a try. I find it so frustrating that my dad gets angry if I don't wanna see a movie with him. Yet never even asks me what the game I'm playing is about. It's just that we aren't totally clueless and a lot of adults treat us that way, and it is so frustrating. Again, I see your point, but I also think it's double-sided. Some teenagers are just bad. But some of us are trying our hardest and adults don't see it and think we are just slacking. It's a complicated thing for sure. No guys. Rap isn't all just high 20-year-olds rapping about bitches and being rich. All whilst saying the words in a tone sounding like oh hunch babies. No. There are genuinely good rappers who talk actual words and speak about legitimately important things. That it's okay not to remember people in your past if they don't mean anything to you. Some people really expect me to keep their names and faces in mind when they only come over to talk to my grandma. To add to that, my mum moved out of my grandma's house when I was 3, so how the FCK am I supposed to remember them? It's all gonna be okay. Double quote. Adults get too worked up and think too hard sometimes. Children have insanely good moral compasses and are very sincere when you look them in the eye. How images aren't cool. IDK man, that just sounds like Reddit. For example, if I say something funny, or if I quote something stupid, I'll oftentimes put ass at the end of it. Reddit just hates on images. Now if I used 400 images, that's bad. If I used images after every sentence, that's bad. However, I don't appreciate how Reddit treats images in general. Give them some love. I'm depressed and feel like adults don't take me seriously. You're not wrong. Most don't. But never forget that some do. Especially as adults who have experienced mental illness ourselves. You're never alone. And there's people who genuinely care and wanna help. That I'm transgender and I now have a boy's name and they should call me he him. I came out to my 7-year-old cousins last week and they've done awesome, but I came out to my grandparents years ago and they still don't grasp it. They're accepting DW. I'm sorry. That sucks. I'm glad your cousins are doing their best. And I wish your grandparents would get it. My twin brother is transgender. Assigned female at birth. Our mom never got it. She said, twin bro dead name, can't be a boy. I changed her diapers. Double quote. Yes you did. Mom. And he's a boy anyway. Sex and gender are two different things. And you're gonna hurt your relationship with your son if you keep it up. You don't have to get it. Just be a good mom and support your son. Dot. Greater than sign. No dad, Steam is not a scam. You can literally put Steam gift cards at the grocery store and there are millions of users. What if they're lying about the users? To him everything online that isn't Facebook is a scam. Yes. Math does change. And I'm using the formula the way I work best. Not the traditional way that you were taught. Threatening your child with X will not make them happy or listen to what you're saying. Seriously. Don't threaten you kids. And I mean this with serious threats like kicking them out. Blood family doesn't matter. Are you talking about blood family that are pretty terrible but say but with your family? As an excuse to keep acting that way? Because HT sucks. Don't be racist. People are entitled to be treated with respect no matter where they are in life. People don't have to do what you did. Technology isn't that complicated. Screaming at people isn't a debate. The list goes on. Not a teenager anymore. But sometimes people online will offer more understanding and compassion than the people you know in real life. When life achievements seem empty, video games give a sense of accomplishment some people can't get anywhere else. Young folks aren't stupid. They're just inexperienced. If you say no, because I said so is not a proper reason. Freaking explain why. There's more to life than just schoolwork. Taking pictures of me hanging out with my friends without any warning is f***ing weird. And it's the reason I don't have friends over as often. In order for me to respect you as a figure of authority, you have to respect me as a complete person with feelings first. There are some things, more everyday, that I know more about than you. And that is fine. Having kids is not a retirement plan, and I have no obligation, legal or moral, to take care of you when you have invested nothing into your future and physically let yourself go. The prison industry complex and military industry complex in America. Edit. Also, mental health is a real issue and isn't a sign of personal weakness or failure.